All right, back again for our second video. This time we're going to be looking at longitudinal waves, longitudinal waves. Longitudinal waves are one in which the disturbance happens parallel to the direction of travel of the wave. So again, we're going to start with our slinky on this, and then I'm going to have a machine do the hard part for me in making a standing wave a little bit later with this, and we'll see what that looks like. So, if a transverse wave was disturbing the slinky up and down and having the wave go forward and back. This time, since we have to disturb it parallel to the direction of the travel, we have to disturb it this way. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to pull the wave towards me and just let it go. Notice this time that, one, you'll notice it probably travels a little bit quicker, but second, the wave travels, there's no up and down disturbances, right? Nothing is going up and down like this. Everything stays in line with the slinky. So again, this sort of wave, steady it out. We disturb it by going forward and back, and the wave travels back and forth quite quickly. Now, this time, instead of being a disturbance up and a disturbance down, the different spots that we have on the wave are when the slinky is squished together or when the slinky is stretched apart. So when this thing starts vibrating, it's going to be squishing the slinky and then stretching the slinky. When it squishes it, the squish is going to push the neighboring slinky bits, so that squished bit will travel forward, then it'll hit this end, and it'll start to travel backwards, right? So it'll travel forward and it'll travel backwards. The squished bit will be like that. If two squished bits come together, you're going to get a very squished bit. If two stretched bits come together, you're going to get a very stretched bit. If a squished bit and a stretched bit comes together, you're going to get a normal bit. So we're going to take another look at a standing wave, this time with the waves going forward and back instead of up and down. So to start off for this one, this guy is set up so that we'll see a standing wave at 13 hertz. Take a second to get it going here. But what you'll notice on this standing wave is that right here, there is, again, a spot where there's no movement. It doesn't squish, it doesn't stretch. That means that at this point, there's always a squishing and a stretching hitting each other. That's destructive interference. Whereas over here, it alternates between very stretched and very squished, back and forth really quickly. So that's where constructive interference is happening. So this particular frequency has a node here, there's a node here, there's a node here, and a node at this end. Again, if I were to hang the paper clip on this one at the node, it wouldn't really move around too much. It does a little bit. But if I hang a paper clip in here, it won't even stay on. It's jumping around too much. The spring itself is moving too much that it can't, it's not a node. It's not stationary. It's stretching and squishing back and forth constantly. So this is our standing wave when we have longitudinal waves. And we need to know about these kind of waves because this is how sound works. Sound is basically us pushing molecules of air that hit other molecules of air. And when those molecules of air hit each other, those push the next molecules of air, which eventually will smash into your eardrum and make your eardrum bounce back and forth. And that bounce back and forth pattern is what we recognize as sound. So longitudinal waves are compression waves that bounce around, that bounce back and forth, but they can have standing waves just the same way that a transverse wave can. So I think that's it for longitudinal waves. You see an example of a standing wave. I guess I'll give you one more example. I think this one worked again at, nope, it was, can't find it. There we go. At 18 hertz, there's a second set of standing waves, which gives you a node and a node and a node and a node, and these big, big antinodes in between that are moving like crazy. You might not be able to see it from there, but from here you can see that the actual spring, the pieces of spring, are moving almost a full centimeter here, and moving not even a millimeter at these points here. So this is another standing wave with longitudinal waves. This is what they look like. This happens all the time if you're when you make sound. If there's dead spots in a room, you music people might realize that some rooms have good acoustics or bad acoustics. And what's happening is if you have a spot where the sound waves are a node like this, no matter how much sound there is, you won't hear it. It's a bit of an oversimplification, but that's the gist of it. So that'll be it for this one. We'll see you in the next video.